quick intro to what you're about to watch. The video you're about to watch, I filmed on December the 11th. Now it's January the 12th. Doesn't make any difference in terms of what we discuss in the video because it's all sort of evergreen content. There is one tiny bit though where I show you my Excel spreadsheet, and obviously that's way out of date, so I'll put a little note on the end while it's actually saying how much I actually won at the end of the month. But that's the reason why it's a month behind. I just literally filmed it a month ago and I've only just got around now to finally finalising the editing and etc etc. Now what's in the video has changed. Originally my plan was to do live trades throughout the last few weeks and film them and put them into the video. However, the members of Back for Profit, the people who have paid to join, they weren't too thrilled that they figured I was going to be giving away too much information if I did that. So therefore, I don't want to cause Andrew any issues. He's, you know, the only reason I'm successful is because of what he's done for me. So there's no way in the world I'm going to upset him and do anything he doesn't want me to do. So I've changed the agenda for this video you're about to watch. So enjoy the video. Welcome to part 3 of the Betfair Beginner's Guide. Today's video is, and this is not really a great thing to say right up front, today's video is probably going to be the one that least people are going to watch because I think it's sort of the more boring side of things. So rather than looking at replays and looking at race reading skills and all that sort of stuff, we're going to be looking at the boring stuff, like having a trading plan and mathematics. Two of the things are going to turn most people off. But if you read the title there, the key to long-term success, and I really mean that. We're going to cover some things that are very, very, very important if you want to separate yourself from being one of the sort of 90% or 95% of traders who lose on a regular basis and put yourself, or 5 or 10% of traders who regularly win all the time. And one thing I will say, watch the video to the end because I'm going to talk to you about what's going to be in part 4 and you will not want to miss that. Part 4 is going to be an absolute cracker, and I promise you that. Okay, so part 3, key to long-term success. First of all, you need a trading plan. I could spend hours talking about this, but I'm going to try and just condense it down. Now, whatever sport you do, I don't know much about trading any other type of sport, but I'm absolutely certain that the best traders of football, tennis, golf, whatever, cricket, whoever they are, I'm sure they have a trading plan of some sort. I don't have my actual trading plan anymore. I used to, but I've changed computer about 2 years ago and it went by the by, but it's ingrained in my mind now, so I don't need to refer to it. I used to read it every day before I actually traded. I used to actually go through it and say, right, I'm going to try and do this today, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do this, these are the things I'm going to do, these are the things I'm going to leave alone. I used to read that every day. So if you're new to trading in running, you need to get yourself a trading plan sorted out. If you've been doing it for a while and you've been consistently losing, maybe it's time that you got one, or if you've got one already, maybe it's time you started sticking to it. So what do you need to cover? The first question you need to ask yourself is, why am I doing this? For me personally, I'm not a professional trader. I'm an amateur trader. I'm a profitable amateur trader, but an amateur trader nevertheless. And although my finances have changed over the years that I've been with Back for Profit, it's been about 5 years now, getting on for 5 years now. There have been times when I really needed the money that I was winning trading. But now my financial situation is slightly different and my business is going a lot better. And I look on my trading money as just extra bonus money to buy some nice things, that sort of thing. Now, I can't speak for everybody, but in certain members of Back for Profit that I've spoken to, there are 1 or 2 in there who've retired and they just use, and they win sort of, I would guess, roughly the same sort of amounts of money that I do, and they just use it to top up their pension. Then there are other people in the group who are full-time professionals who actually make their living doing this. And then you've got obviously Andrew, who's just, you know, different gravy, winning amounts that, you know, frankly ridiculous. You need to decide why you're doing it. If you're doing trading just because it's fun and just for the enjoyment and you see it as entertainment and it's not your living and you don't have to win and you don't care if you win, then quite frankly, you don't really need a trading plan. Just have at it and just enjoy yourself. But if you want to make this profitable long term, you need a plan. You need to know what you're doing it for and you need to plan for that. First thing you want to talk about is how often are you going to trade? I'm lucky, I'm self-employed, and although I do work long hours for my business, and there are times of the year through the summer months when my business is really busy, I don't have time to trade at all, but normally speaking, in the winter months I can work around. If I really want to trade, I can, because I'll just work, you know, outside of those hours. But if you've got a full-time job, if you've got a wife and kids, it's going to be difficult for you. It really is. To learn to do this properly, you need screen time. I mentioned in the previous videos, you need to watch hundreds and hundreds of race replays, hundreds of them, to get better at this. You need to work at it. You need time. So sort out how often you're going to trade, and you need to block off time and say, right, that is the time when I'm going to trade. And also block off some time for time when I'm going to analyze my trades, and I'm going to watch race replays and try and improve. So rather than just trading all the time, you need to be trading and learning, analyzing, improving. Because if you don't, you're never going to improve. You're never going to get any better. To be winning, you need to be slightly better today than you were yesterday, and so on and so forth every day. When I first started, I used to re-watch every race I ever traded to see where I went wrong. If I had a better work ethic, I'd still be doing it now, so I could improve still further. But I'm at a level where I'm quite comfortable with what I'm winning. But if you want to be good at this and you're not now, then you need to work hard. It's as simple as that. If you work hard, you will become good at it. Right, how long will I trade for? In part 4, I'm going to cover this. I'm going to get an opinion for you from somebody else, so I'm not going to answer this right now. Suffice to say that I tend to find that the longer I trade, the worse I get. My concentration levels will start to dip after a while. So I personally like to trade in short, sharp blocks, never more than 2 hours. Generally, I only trade for an hour each day. But as I say, I'll cover this more in part 4. In your trading plan, you need to decide what you're going to do when you get a loss. The biggest improvement in my profit and loss over the last 4 or 5 years is the fact that when I get a loss now, I turn BetAngel off straight away. I don't care. I just turn it off. And if you're new and you've been losing regularly over recent months, I promise you, if you go back into your results for the day, go through your Betfair account and pick out a day, I don't know, let's say the 10th of last month, and you lost, 200 quid. I guarantee you that if you'd have turned off the computer the minute you got the first red, instead of losing 200 quid that day, you'd have probably lost, 40, 50, whatever it might have been. It's never the red that's the problem. It's what you do after the red. And what most people do is they get a red and then they trade worse, and they just make things worse. So they start chasing losses and basically gambling. They lose more and more and more till in the end they're just not even thinking straight. So I always turn off the minute I've had a red. Difficult to do, but if you can master that, it'll improve your profit and loss no end. The next thing I look at on the trading plan is what races and what tracks will I trade. You need to decide this for yourself, but for me personally, I can only give you my sort of thoughts on this. Me personally, I go through Guardian, I set, turn BetAngel on, get Guardian open, and I delete every 5 furlong race just immediately. Okay, gone. There are certain tracks, I'll touch on 1 or 2 in a minute, that I'll go through and I'll just delete every race off that track. And 6 furlong races, I will delete 90% of them, if not 95% of them, straight off the Guardian. Okay, nowadays I tend to do 7 furlongs. When I first started, I was doing 1 mile and 2 and upwards, and I suggest if you're new, you should really do the same. The longer the race, the sort of slower pace the horses are going at, you've got a little bit more time to correct anything you've done wrong. If the shorter the race, if you make a mistake in a 5 furlong race, by the time you've realised you've made the mistake, it's too late to save your money. If you're really new, or if you're just losing regularly, no matter how long you've been doing it, I suggest you don't do anything less than 1 mile. Obviously, over the jumps, I like, all the jumps races, because the minimum's 1 mile and 7, call it 2 miles. So I love jumps racing. The one thing I will also point out is the number of runners. When you're new, you shouldn't really be trading races with less than 6 runners, and preferably not less than 8. As you get better and better and you get more experience, you can do shorter running fields. But even now, I'll only do a 4 runner field, and even then I'm very, very careful. If I will watch and trade 4 runner races, but I'm extra careful in those. You want more runners when you're new. Gives you more protection. Touched on tracks. Personally, and this is something which I've learned since I've joined Back for Profit from Andrew, I'm just really parroting his views, and I've come to adopt them over the years. He doesn't like straight tracks. Say for instance Newcastle, where they've got anything up to 1 mile is dead straight. They've just got a straight mile, so 5 furlong, 6 furlong, 7 furlong and 1 mile. The whole thing is just straight. Back for Profit, we like tracks that have got a bend in, because if they're going round a bend, the favourite or whatever, whichever one you're looking to lay, might be closed in and boxed in on the rail and not get a run, and while it's blocked in and something else at the front, the second favourite, is skipping clear, the price of the second favourite is going to go down. That favourite that's boxed in, the price is going to go out. That can be enough to get you a trade. Having bends, having gives more potential for problems, which gives us potential trades. So I'll tend to delete races that are over straight courses. Next on your trading plan, price of horse will you trade? I'm already going to assume you're going to be using liability rather than fixed stakes, because fixed stakes gives you more problems to think about. If you're trading off the ladders, which you shouldn't be, and you've got your stake set at, say, let's say 10 quid for argument's sake, you've got a flat stake of a tenner, and you lay the even money favourite, well, it's not a problem. But if you've laid something at 10 to 1, then you've got £100 liability. So you think, well, that's a bit too much. I don't want to lose 100, so I'll change the price on. I'll change the stake on that one to 2 quid. But you can't mess around during the race. It's just too much trouble to do that. I like the one-click screen. I like liability because then I've got clarity of thought. I have nothing else to think about. If I click this button, the most it can cost me is X amount. Okay, that's it. So going back from that, then prices. Because I use liability and the risk versus reward, I'm going to go into more detail on this in the next section called mathematics. I don't want to lay any horse that's trading at anything above 4 point, well, really anything above 4s really, but sometimes you click them when they're 3.5, and by the time you're 1 second delay and your bet gets taken, you might have got it at 4.5 or 4.8, but even that, you know, I don't really like that. So I'm trying to get horses that are you know, shorter prices, and you'll see why in a second. At what point will I enter the market, and at what point must I exit the market? Right, if you get yourself a racecourse guide, then you can print it off and decide for yourself what is the last entry point. So let's say, for argument's sake, where are we? 5 furlong. Oh, there's a 7 furlong start. So there's the winning line. 7 furlong starts here. So they come out to 7 furlong and they go around the bend and they come round here. Now you got to get in your mind, at what point are you going to say that is the last point in which I'm going to enter the race? So let's say for me, my last entry point, if I haven't spotted a weak one by the time they get to this bend, then I'm not going to enter at all, and that's the end of the race as far as I'm concerned. So let's say that's my last entry point. So let's say they've come around the bend, and I've spotted one that looks weak, and I've laid it about here. And the price is drifting a little bit, but I'm not fully out, I'm not fully matched. At what point am I going to say, I don't care that I'm not fully matched, I'm too late in the race, so now I'm going to exit, regardless of whether I'm going to get matched or not. I'm going to get out now because it's too late. So what you can do is print these off and then mark on there your last entry point and your must exit point. Okay. Obviously, if it goes well, you'll enter early, you'll be out before you get anywhere near your last exit, before you get to your exit point, and you'll be greened up, and that's fine. So that's what you need to do. Now, I used to have some markers on that, and a lot of members of Back for Profit do this now. To be honest, I'm lazy, and Andrew's done a lot of the work for members of the Back for Profit group, so I'll just briefly show you. I haven't asked his permission to show you this, but I'll just show you a little tiny bit. So let's say, for argument's sake,
Taunton Jumps course, which is right-handed, very sharp track. You can see the tight bends here. 4 fences down the far side, plain ditch, 3 fences in the home straight.
Right, I won't let you listen to any more of that, but Andrew does one of these reports for every racetrack in the UK and Ireland each day. So tomorrow morning, if like tomorrow's racing is Sandown, Kempton and Newmarket, then he'll put the videos, they come in and they'll be in the room. So all you need to do is just, you know, get them up and watch them. So in that video, he talks about what to watch out for, quirks of the track, last entry points, last exit points and all that sort of stuff. Now, I've been a member for over 5 years, so I've watched these videos over and over and over again. So what I tend to do is, because I know not all of the tracks, but some of the tracks I know quite well, when I switch it on and he starts to talk and I go, oh yeah, I remember this track, and then I just turn the video off. I don't need to watch it. But sometimes what happens is, if there's a track where there's only a meeting twice a year and the last time it was there I didn't trade that day, I might not have traded this track for a year, so I'll watch the whole video so I know exactly what the entry points are, where the exit points are and everything else to watch out for. But I know a lot of the members, they print their own sheets off as well. They still listen to those, but they have their own sheets and they mark their own particular areas of entry and exit. So you need to do that. You just need to put a bit of work in. There's a famous general, so famous I can't remember his name, said that time spent on reconnaissance is never wasted. You need to do some prep. You need to know before you start trading, because not every track's the same. Now the other thing that helps me as well these days is that because I use BetAngel, it's got the race timer on, so when it says the race is now in play, the timer starts and the little green bar moves across. For me personally, if I haven't found something that's weak by 60% of the race, then I'm not going to trade it, because I don't want to enter later than that. The later in the race, the more dangerous it is, the more the prices are moving around, and if you make a mistake, it's difficult to save your money. So I like to get in nice and early if I've spotted a week one early, and get out early. So you need to decide for yourself where your risk points are. You'll probably find if you're honest with yourself and go back and look at your bad results, they're races that you traded in the later stages, so you need to cut that out. The next thing you want to think about is analysis of your own efforts. Now I use something called Bandicam. Download it on the internet. It's called Bandicam. It's free. It's a video recorder and it will record your screen up to 10 minutes. It's not what I'm using for this video. When I first started, I used to record every single race, and then if I thought afterwards, I think I missed a chance there, I think I could have traded that race, I'll re-watch the video again later in the evening and see if I perhaps could have entered or not. And then obviously trades that I do enter, I'll watch them carefully. Could I have entered earlier? Could I have spotted that earlier? And also, very critically, if I've got a red, at what point should I really have spotted that things weren't going well and exited the trade? Just trading and trading and trading and trading is quite good, but it's not good enough. Really what you should be doing is trading and trading and trading, and then analysing those trades. Okay, learn from them, improve, get better, then trade and trade and trade again, then analyse those trades and learn and get better. If you don't analyse what you're doing, it's the old keep doing the same thing, you're going to keep getting the same results. If you're losing, you need to analyse why you're losing. You need to watch the replays and then learn from those mistakes, because otherwise you just might as well set fire to £10 notes. Okay, you really need to put some work and effort into this, because it's just the best way to improve. And I also use my Excel spreadsheet. I haven't shown that on screen for ages. Let me show you my Excel spreadsheet. Yes, you can just about see that. Right, okay, so that's December that we're in now. As I say, I watched some races today but didn't trade any, so nothing today. And so far for this month I'm winning 347. I don't know how many more days I'm going to trade this month. I'm probably going to be knocking off around about the 20th, so I might win £600 or £700 this month. I think that would be a rough guess, I would guess, but anyway, who knows. So I record my results daily. I know I can see them in BetAngel, but I know I can see them in Betfair, but you can only see them like back for 90 days, and this, as I say, goes back 5 years, and I think that's important to do that. So record your results and be honest with yourself, because if you're losing, you need to write it down, because otherwise you're just going to pretend it never happened. Just make yourself own up to it, quite frankly. I've been playing poker for many years. I've spent a lot of time in casinos, and I know when people have lost loads of money, and I know how much they've lost when they're playing, and I know they've lost 400 or 500 quid, and I'll say, you had a bad night? Yeah, I've lost about 150 quid. And I'm thinking, no, you haven't, you're lying. Yeah. You've lost nearer 500 than 150. Gamblers who lose, they just lie to themselves. So write it down. It makes you face up to it. Mathematics. Let's talk about mathematics. This will be fun. As I mentioned in my other videos, I green up at 30%. So if, for argument's sake, I was using exactly £100 stake, when it gets to a £30 green, that would be the point when I would green up and I'd be out of the trade. Now, I've done these mathematics based on a £100 liability. So based on a £100 liability, when greening up at 30%, if I lay something at 2.0, in other words an even money shot, it's going to be a £100 stake for the £100 liability, and it's going to be a £30 green if it's successful. If on the other hand I do the same bet with a £100 liability, but the horse is trading at 11.0, i.e. 10 to 1, my £100 liability would get me a £10 stake. So when I green up at 30% of a tenner, it's going to be just 3 quid. Okay, the liability is the same, but what I'm going to win is going to be obviously 10 times less. If I do 100 trades at odds of 2.0, with a 95% strike rate. So 95 races I win, 5 races I lose, and for the purpose of making the mathematics simple, I'm going to assume that every time I have a loss, it's a full stake liability loss, the whole lot. So what that gives me is 95 times 30, which is 2850, minus the 500 from the 5 losses, gives me a net profit of 2350. I can live with that. But if I do 100 trades at 11.0 with a 95% strike rate, then I'm going to get 95 times £3, which is 285 quid, and I'm going to lose £500 the same, and that's going to give me a net loss of minus 215 quid. If you're one of those traders who says to himself, but I trade 20 greens in a row and then I get a red and it wipes it all out and I don't understand how I keep losing, well, that's why, because you're laying horses at too big a price. Okay, it just doesn't work. So if you want to be a long-term successful trader trading off liability, you need to trade shorter prices. Now obviously what that means is, with the best will in the world, if you know nothing about the races, what you do know is if it's a shorter price, got a better chance of winning. But if you're looking for those signals, if a horse is struggling and it's off the bridle, I don't care whether it's odds on or it's 100 to 1, it's still off the bridle, it's still struggling. You know, if it's blocked in on the rail and it's being bumped along, pushed and niggled, I don't care if it's odds on. In fact, I want it to be odds on. So that was mathematics. That's why I do shorter prices. And if it means that I'm watching the even money favourite, the 3 to 1 second favourite and the 4 to 1 third favourite, and they're all at the front and they're all going well, it just means I don't trade the race. I won't think, well, those 3 I can't trade, so I'm going to look for someone at the back and trade it because it's 20 to 1. No, I just won't trade it. It'll just be a no trade. There's no shame in not trading. You don't have to trade every race. You just don't. We've covered trading plans, why you need one and why you should bloody stick to it. We've covered mathematics of why I do short prices. Let me tell you now about part 4, because I'm quite excited to tell you about part 4. Andrew Banthorpe, who's the owner of Back for Profit, has agreed that we're going to have an interview and we're going to record it, and that'll be basically part 4. Andrew is going to come on and talk to you and give you some help and guidance, and I'm sure that if you're new to in-running trading, you will definitely find it valuable. Let me say to you, opinions are like arseholes, we've all got one, but in my humble opinion, Andrew is the best in-running trader I have ever, well, I know he is, in my opinion, he's the best in-running trader I have ever seen. I've been a member of 3 or 4 other trading groups, which I stayed in for various lengths of time, but I've been with Andrew now for getting on for 5 years. His methods just work for me and anyone who applies them. Don't get me wrong, people join and they can't control their gambling urges and they lose and they blame the system and off they go. That's just going to happen. But those people can't be helped. But if you come in, if you do join Back for Profit and you really work hard at your discipline and take on board the lessons and take your time learning those lessons, then it will work for you. But you've got to work hard. But Andrew's going to come on. Now, this is a great opportunity for you. If you've got a question about in-running horse races and you're trading in-running, ask that question in the comments below, okay? And I will collate all of your questions together, and then when Andrew and I get together for a chat, then I can ask Andrew the questions and we'll try and cover off as many of them as we possibly can. For any of you who don't know anything about Back for Profit, it is an in-running trading academy. It's $299, I think it's $299 to join, and then that entitles you to 3 months free within the Telegram groups and stuff, and then after that it's £25 a month. Now, within the Telegram groups there are different groups for different things. The main one is the trading room, which is obviously for just trading. When we're actually trading, people will type in there. There's the main Back for Profit sort of chat group, and then there's, very importantly, the daily information. That's the one where those videos go in that I showed you of the tracks and what to look out for in each of the tracks. Any new videos that he does in the training material on the actual website, there's about 400 training videos that he's done over the years, and every time he does a new one it gets added in. They're all there for you to watch and you get access to those. As a member, you also get complete access to book a one-to-one phone call with Andrew, and you can chat to him over the phone about your trading, and he will help you as much as he possibly can. When I first joined, we used to speak very often on the phone. He used to ring me up and give me a bollocking if I'd had a red. But so he's so good. Now, if you want to know how good he is, because people say to me, "Oh, Dave, you're really good at this trading. You're very disciplined. You haven't lost you haven't had a losing month for 4 years, 5 years, whatever it is. Can I ask you a question? Well, trust me, there's good and there's good. This is me yesterday. I won £48. I'm getting old, but I need glasses. Yeah, I won £48 and 89 pence yesterday. And if you want to know how good he is compared to me, I won £48 89 pence yesterday, and Andrew won £1,199 54p on one trade in one race on that horse there called Malinka. Don't forget, you won't want to miss that. So make sure you've subscribed and hit the little bell button so you get notified when I post the next video up. Having the chance to talk to him or listen to what he's got to say, it's like absolute gold dust. It really is. As I will say again, he is the best in running trader I have ever seen. If there's anyone out there who's better than him, please let me know, because I'd love to talk to them. If you are interested in joining Back for Profit, by the way, I'll leave a link down below which will take you through to my blog, and there is a 10% discount code on there. Andrew's agreed to let me have a 10% discount code for people who watch this video, so take advantage of that, and I'll see you in the next video.